Hey folks, been recording myself doing these daily targets on CSSBattle.dev. If you got a Plus account, you can look back in time at these various different targets and try them out for yourself. This is January 4th, January 5th, and January 6th of 2024. That's last year. I'm almost up to I think I'm halfway through the backlog. I will keep doing these videos. They are mostly for me, and they're an exercise in CSS. All right, what is this shape? Sort of a capital I with a glitch in it, maybe. I don't know. It's something odd. All right, let's do border block to do that top color. And it's border block. Border block. What? Solid. 30 pixels. And a color, maybe it's like 10, maybe it's 15. All right, and then the background of this thing is that light green. We use margins to put things into place. So I'm gonna put these on the margins on the element itself. 6, 7, okay, and it looks like that border is 20 pixels. Okay, more margins on the right means we will constrain this block level element more because it's going to be and 1, 2. There it is. Okay, so we've got part of it and it's not tall enough, so let's make it taller. Taller. How do we do that? Let's do that. 110, 20, 110, 110. No, 120. There it is. All right. Now we have that shape to do. So how do we do that shape? So we get two pieces of it. I think it's two gradients. I don't think that we have other choices in terms of how we would do it. I think two gradients is our choice. It's a matter of which gradients do we want. We can use linear gradients and then constrain their height. So let's try that. And is there a way? So this is super wide, and then this is narrow, and then this is wide, but it's a different width from this. I thought maybe we could reuse a gradient, but I don't think that's possible. Let's do the hard part first. We'll do just this thin section and see how well we do. All right, so linear gradient, and we need to constrain the height of it and the width. So I'm going to put it 0, 40 pixels down, and we'll call it 40 pixels, 100% wide, and 40 pixels tall. Then it's a background that's coming in from the side, right? Yeah. So it's that color, and then that color. So that's what we've got so far. And then let's say repeat. So we could do no repeat. Or we can do repeat on the x-axis only, which gets us what we want. Now that width, let's set a width there. What is it, 50%? Maybe it's 60%. And I'm really just eyeballing it. 55%. Maybe it's 56, 57. It's probably a pixel value. 50, 60, 70. Okay, I think that's in the right realm. It's too tall. Make it 30, and then move it down with background position. And then it's still too tall. Maybe it's 20 pixels, just like the border was. That makes sense. So that's what we've got so far. So I'm going to set no repeat and see if we can get this correct. So right now we've got a width of 70 pixels, 60, 70, 80, 90 pixels over, and then let's constrain that. Or is that what we want? No, that's too wide. We need to get back down to 70, I think. 70. Let's take a look. All right, so we want the light color. Let's call it 20%. And 0. That's close. How about 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28%. And then we'll let that repeat again. Repeat dash X. Percentages might not be working. We've got a little bit of a nub of a color there. So let's not do that. Let's do 20 pixels. Maybe it's 30. 25 maybe. Is that? Oh no, maybe it's just 20. 20 is correct. Then we need another linear gradient, which is very similar in a lot of ways. Two colors. It's coming in from 90 degrees. We're going to do 0, 0, 50%, no. Okay. And is that it? No. So now we've got 20 pixels. How about 40 pixels? And then we make it wider. 50, 60, 70, 80, 70, 75 maybe. Is that the shape? I think that's the shape. Let's submit. We wait for the response back from the CSS Battle servers, and yes, that is the shape. So we've replicated that with two linear gradients, one that is constrained by height and constrained by the repeat. And I guess this background color, we can let that repeat now, and then we can minify and unit replace and submit, and almost our final answer. And that's also, now there's other things you can do to tune in this code golf. You can make, you can use different units. Sometimes you can use percentages. You can use units that are very short, like the Q unit, which is a little hard to reason about, but it is also another option. And sometimes you can just do exactly what I do, adjust numbers until it looks right. When you get that, when you look at the diff and you see little bits of non-black, that means you don't have it. So that's a fun one. All right, next. Ooh, boy. Yeah, this is sort of two Pac-Man, maybe. Definitely feeling display flex is the way to go on this guy today. So let's set a width, because we're going to need one anyway, 50. And then let's set a background on the body. And we want to find the shape, margins, etc., that put this right where we want it. 60, 70, 80, 90. 90, that looks right. How about 70? That looks right as well. How about 100 wide? 105 wide? 105. And then the height is 110, 120. All right, so how do we get that shape? First thing, how about a border radius? And it looks like we need what? If the width is, I guess what we need is 60 pixels. 0, 0, 60 pixels. And is that a match? Okay, that's good. Now let's display flex. Now this shouldn't, that does a little bit of stuff. It's now respecting the default margins on that paragraph element, rather than getting a collapse of those margins. So we're going to adjust the top margin to get things right where we want it. So that's 74. So I believe that's the 6 pixel margin by default that we're seeing there. All right. Now, how do we take that chunk out of there? Today, so normally I would say, hey, conic gradient. Today I think it's clip path. Polygon. And it's 5 points. It's 100, it's 0, 0, 100%, 0. I'm gonna say 50%, 50% for the middle. 100%, 100%, and then 0, 100%. And that gets you the shape. Is it right there? Not quite. How about we move that middle point over? 2, 3, 40, 41, 42, 43. That's it. So now, if we add another element, it'll be part of that flex row, right? And then if we flip it, so P plus P is the second element. We could also add an attribute or add a class or an ID and then be able to use that, but we're just using exactly the HTML we've got. We do scale, -1. Now we could do gap of an amount. We could also set a margin left. Let's do a gap. And that will move. That means each one of these elements will get moved over a bit. And that's that solution. Submit and make sure that we're 100% match. I would definitely like it to be. All right, that's great. Let's unit replace and minify, and that is a solution to these sort of Pac-Mans. All right, and that's nice. All right, next. This, I guess, kind of a leaf and some shadows. What is the solution here? I think, so I think I know this is wrong, but I'm going to try it anyway. How do you like that? I think what I want is a box shadow. Box shadow. 2 box shadows, right? You have create the element, and then you have box shadows for the rest of it. The first, and I guess we need this dark green background color. And we do need a border radius, don't we? And that's how you get that shape. And let's move these margins here for the time being. And we're going to set those margins so that this is exactly the right width. 40, 50, 50, 50, and then move it down with the top margin. 100 is too much. How about 60? How about 70? How about 80? And then adjust these that margin is 70. Okay, 71, 72. And then 1, 2. And then let's adjust the height. 1, 3, 4, 140. Okay, close. How about 50, 60, 70? Okay, so what happens if we do a box shadow minus, is that 20 pixels? 0, red. And now let's do another one. -0, minus what, 660. And then that same color, this light color. So now, I guess we need that green, because we can't do transparent, because otherwise it's not going to cover the other one. So you'll notice it's not quite right. We've got a little bit of hunk there. It looks like it's a box shadow, but it's really not. Now, can we fake it? What if we move that box shadow up? Second one. So this is the first shadow underneath it, which adheres and has the same shape. Let's move it up. -10 pixels. And we get another problem. All right, so how about -15? 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. It's just not quite doing it, is it? So I think that means it's no good. Now, it doesn't mean we can't quite do it, but I think that what that means is that the box shadow technique is not quite going to do what we want. So let's undo that. And let's do, just so we can see what we're doing, I'm going to turn that off. So let's do a border. Border 20 pixels solid green. Now we're going to have to adjust some of our numbers here. Now we could do box sizing, border box, and get the same shape, but then that's too small, right? So we actually do want that to go up. So let's get rid of that. And we have to adjust our height. Our height needs to go 40 less. And actually, what we need then is what? We need to set that border. We need actually to everything to be wider by 40, don't we? So where do we put that? I think we put it on both these ends. So this needs to be 130, and this needs to be 50. Is that what we want? Almost. And then the top border also needs to change 6. Closer. And then we need to be higher, 120. Oh, so many different ins and outs there. Okay, how about taller? Is it 140 that we need to be taller by? There it is. Okay. So what next? This border radius sure doesn't look right now. There, we added 20 to that and it worked. And we still need to do another one of these. So how do we do that? We need another element. And we can't see it yet because we got margin sets there. So how about the second P? What's that margin? Minus. Oh, and we've got a problem. Because we need to do we need to replicate what we got going on the vertical axis. So what do we do? Minus 60. There it is. Minus 100, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And that puts it right where we want it, but now we need to move one over. So how do we do that? I think, oh, and then also this is on top of the other one, and what we want this is to be behind. Now we could play with z-index, but that's not going to give us what we want. That means that this has to be the first one that we do. The first one has to have these margins. So I think that's going to be, so let's do display none on the second one. We're just going to hide it entirely. Display none. And then we can't see that because I think they're in identical locations. So let's move them over. We'll move them over. So how do we do that? We need to go decrease this number. How about minus 130, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. That looks pretty good. And then let's put this one back. Is that it? So not what I thought, but still pretty good. Now there's 51, 60. Yeah. I think let's make a variable of this, m, or that default set of numbers, top, right, down, the bottom, and left margins. And so this would be --m. Meanwhile, we need a background on the color on the background, and I think that gets us what we want. So a lot of steps there. The shapes that we think are there, like it sort of looks like a box shadow, but it is just not quite a box shadow, is it? All right, let's minify and unit replace, and we get a little bit of a winning there, and then let's resubmit, and we're all done with that one. It's 100% match, and that's a better score than I've gotten in the past. I don't remember quite how I've done this in the past, but you have to use elements because box shadow doesn't do it. The shape is just slightly different, and once you look at it, now you can kind of see, oh, that outer curve is a little different from that inner curve of when there's a border on there, right? Because it's radiating out from that border radius, and we did have to change that border radius to get that totally right. That's a fun one. Fun set. We got the weird eye, the Pac-Man, and then the leaf and with shadows. Thanks for watching. Make cool stuff with CSS. CSS is really great, really awesome. A lot of fun to make web pages. Make web pages and tell the world about yourself. Have a great day. Bye-bye.